the camera here. Let's just try. I don't know. Who knows? Well, let's leave it off for now. Today's topic by Reverend Michelle is probably one that most of us really don't want to think about, but it's something that we all should really consider and look at it from a positive aspect. It's called When My Life Is Done, and kind of reminds me of the song, but is it a song or a hymn? I'm not quite sure what you would call it, but anyway, so here it is. Here it is. So welcome. When My Life Is Done. First quote is from Shannon L. Alder, and I looked her up, and she's a relationship coach. I think she's a member of the LDS, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She's a relationship coach, and she's being quoted anywhere, depending who you believe, between 100 to 300 other books. So who knows? But the main thing is, what did she say? She said, one of the greatest regrets in life is being what others would want you to be, rather than being yourself. One of the greatest regrets in life is being what others would want you to be, rather than being yourself. And to me, that's pretty good advice, right? And Ernest Holmes in Love and Law says, you are each a law unto yourselves. Become unto yourselves a law of happiness, a law of peace, a law of health, life, love, truth, and beauty, and go forth to radiate that which you feel yourself to be. It is the only salvation that will ever come to this world. So be yourself. Kind of relates to Jesus saying, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. He said it on numerous occasions, and it really isn't quoted very often, and it really isn't explained an awful lot, but it's there in black and white. It says, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Go inside yourself to find the truth of who you really are. And this is Reverend Michelle, and she says, sometimes I imagine it's my final day in this life on earth. Some may think this is morbid, but yet for me, it keeps me on a track with living my best life. When I enter this future moment, I stop and reflect. I ask if I am living the way I want to live now. She says, I feel pretty clear that on my deathbed, I won't be wishing that I worked more hours in my job, made more money, or have more people approve of me. Those feel like pretty shallow desires for my life. It feels more like not loving enough, serving enough, or living my authentic life. These would be my regrets. It feels like spending more time attempting to please people or be what others want instead of what I want for myself would be a regret. But on that last day, in that last moment, I want to feel I discovered the deep truth of who I am. I want to know I gave and shared that authentically with others. This will mean leaving this life free of any sense of regret. She says, of course, that means today I must pay attention to my efforts to live a great life. I cannot wait until tomorrow to start because none of us are promised tomorrow. That means that right now it's important to give up any living for others' ideals about me and claim my great life and my great self every day. And of course, I don't know what really happened there, but anyway, there we are. So I think it speaks for itself, right? Because none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow to ourselves and to our loved ones. We just don't know. And it also seems to me, looking back and looking how my mother lived her life, she had a lot of talent. I mean, she had an awful lot of talent. She was a talented seamstress. She was really good at caring for people. You know, she was pretty intelligent, but looking back from this distance, it seems to me that she always wondered what other people would think. And she would even say that, oh, what would others think about us? What will others think about us? And yet Reverend Michelle here is saying, that really doesn't matter. To me, it kind of goes back to, as I said, I first heard it from Wayne Dyer saying, what you think about me is none of my business. Because at the end of the day, what others think about us is their opinion. It's what they've formed. And if it's judgmental, then that's on them. It's not on me or you or anybody else, right? It's really on them. Because there's a big difference between discernment and judgment. I think my senior minister, my boss, Reverend Jesse, put it very well when he explained the difference. He said, if you see someone running a red light and you just observe that, the light changed to red and they ran through it. But if you start judging them for doing it, if you start saying, wow, what a nasty thing they did, and my God, they could have known an accident. What kind of person would do that? That's judgment. But if you just say, hey, somebody ran a red light and leave it at that, then that's discernment. Or that light changed to red. So that's the difference between discerning something. You notice something that happens, but you don't judge it. And I think he also said, when somebody's behaving erratically in the freeway, if they're cutting you off and so on, and you're thinking, what a horrible driver. He says, you don't know what's going on in their head. They may have had a horrible day and that's all they're thinking about. But on the other hand, they may have had a wonderful day and that's all they're thinking about. And their mind isn't on their driving. It's, although it ought to be, you would say, to keep the road safe. But in other words, you don't judge why they're cutting you off. They cut you off, and when you can leave it at that, it's good. I remember once, and I've quoted this at least twice, maybe more. I was driving from here in the Woodlands down to the Woodlands Mall, which is about 3 miles, give or take, 3.5 miles, give or take. And the road going down is 2 lanes either way. And I was driving down there, I think, like 40 minutes before the Apple store closed. And I had to go to the Apple store. I've forgotten why now. So I wanted to get there pretty quickly. I didn't want to miss my appointment down there. And as I drive out the door, I get on the road that drives down there. And there's a car in front of me in the right lane doing about 30 miles an hour in a 40 mile an hour zone. No problem, right? But then in the left lane, there's somebody else parallel to this guy, also doing 30 miles an hour in a 40 mile an hour lane. It might have even been 25. They were going under the speed limit. Most people, let's face it, drive at least 5 miles over the speed limit. But anyway, so at first I was really incredibly frustrated. What are they doing? What kind of people drive like that? And then it suddenly dawned on me, look, whatever you think and say to yourself about them is not going to make any difference to the way they drive. And they carried on driving that way. And I just said, hey, I'm going to get to the mall on time. I'm going to let it go. And it flowed along. And finally, we came to a turning where I go into the mall. And I left them to their 30 miles an hour. By that time, it had got down to 25 because we changed speed zones. I got there in plenty of time, and I got there relaxed because I just let it go. So what has that got to do with Michelle's message? Well, the fact that the purpose of life, I think, is to be good to ourselves and to be good to other people. It's to make a contribution. It's to find out what our contribution is in the world and what our contribution can be to ourselves. So to live a life that's good for us and good for everyone else, and to use our talents to the best of our abilities. That is my message today. What's the affirmation is, my intention to be my truest self is a daily intention, and that rises up in me as I live out my days. My intention to be my truest self is a daily intention, that rises up in me as I live out my days. And as I said, if you don't like these affirmations that people give us, hey, just let it go, because make it your own. All right, so tomorrow, Reverend Lisa, my colleague, my ministerial colleague, will be on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page at 9:15. I will be back, inshallah, God willing, at 5 p.m. tomorrow, unless life gets in the way, which 5 o'clock it sometimes does. But I'll be back either 5 o'clock or whenever it turns out to be. And I am knowing, my prayer today for everyone is to know that each and every one of who listens to this, who reads this, who watches this, is living life to their best ability, and that they are happy and at peace within themselves. And I claim this is good, and I release it into a divine law that always says yes, and so it is. So until next time, namaste.